Hello, doing a deck profile on a deck that I mention now and then that I really enjoy playing green steel quite a bit. It's I don't know if I'd say a comfort pick. It's just if I'm maybe playing at League or playing a store champs that I don't I just want to kind of have fun with. I tend to play green steel. I like the lines. I like that it's basically just a combination of the most insane high rolls ever. And at some point in the meta, of course, Bucky era was its own thing, and even after that, when Zan was winning with it and Luke Wonderland was winning it as well, like it was clearly a very strong deck, and it still kind of is a strong deck. I'd say falling down the meta tiers like a little bit. It's just not as consistent as the other Diablo decks, like Green Purple Diablo, Diablo deck. So it can still beat that when it gets its high rolls and it gets the cards it wants in a certain order, and sees everything it wants. It can definitely beat it, but majority of the games I find it sort of just bricks on itself, or you see the cards in the wrong order, and the only real card draw is between Diablo and Ursula, Diablo and Prince John discard. So it can feel a little bit rough in those aspects. I think, have I got the right? Yep, this is all the right list for me. Yeah, it does. Sorry, I was just double checking I had the right list because I saw one thing that I don't usually run, which is 4 Prince John. I usually go and run 3, but I think 4 is fine. I think 4 is actually correct. Yeah, it doesn't do the consistent game plan that the sort of Amethyst Emerald Diablo deck that we've been seeing recently does. It kind of can't really do its Diablo thing anymore because of decks like Blurple and RP Shark and RP Shark, sorry. And just the amount of evasion hate that's out there. Discarding can be awkward to set up. Sometimes they can just play off top decks. So you've got decks like Amber Still Aggro that kind of doesn't really care if it's put into top deck mode because it's going to be there anyway eventually. So it's hard to discard them and hard to get any draw from them. And if they just draw into a removal for Diablo, then you don't even get your Diablo draw, and they're probably just going to aggressively outquest you. But I think I'm underselling a bit Emerald Steel when I say that. Me personally, I'm not like the biggest and best Emerald Steel player out there. I'm not like Dale, or this list is the original list that I got was from Ray, and then I've just made a few changes to just the way that I enjoy it, because for me personally, I play this list because I enjoy it, which is a horrible thing to say when it's a Diablo green steel deck. It's like the original villain deck of Lorcana that everyone used to dislike playing against, but for me personally, I just pick it up when I want to have some fun. All the lines feel fairly complicated. It's all the triggers with things like Muses and singing songs beyond the horizon now, with Prince John. It just adds so many different levels to it, and it's just such an engaging deck that I just really like enjoying picking up and playing. And if you want to run it at store champs, this is definitely the build that I would suggest, and I can walk through a few things. I'm pretty sure a lot of Emerald Steel players right now would disregard the Hidden Cove as an important card. Me personally, I love the Cove. I think 3 maybe is too many, but again, I'm looking for high rolls and just trying to have the most fun I can with the list, and this is sort of the way I'd build it. I think you could definitely get away with 2. I think in green purple you could run just 1 Cove and you'd be fine. I think I've seen a lot of them just running 1 Cove. They do draw a lot of cards. The likely chances they'll find that Cove, but with this deck we don't draw as many. The only real cycle cards we have as well are things like Let the Storm Rage On, so it's hard for us to get to the Cove. We don't find it in the mulligan, and still shifting Diablo on 2, moving to a Cove is a high roll that's so good it's just won me games on the spot just from that alone. So having the ability to do that at high percent chance, because I play 3 Coves, is just where I want to be. But I think you could easily remove one of those Coves and buff up the Muses numbers or something like that. You could definitely do that if you wanted to. But yeah, I've got the list up here, and I was going to run through some mulligans for it as well, and just do a sort of little profile of the deck. But firstly, we'll cover the each card. Of course, you've got the Diablo package in there. And this is, I think, why it feels a lot weaker than the green purple Diablo decks, is that we're running only one of the 1-drops. You have to really deep mulligan for it if you want to get it. If you're lucky, it might be in your starting hand, but if not, you have to really mulligan for it. Even if you get it and shift, and you can't do something like Sing Friends to just completely refill the hand, after losing 1 action, losing 1 card to put on top of the Diablo, you could Sing Friends and gain 2 cards again, and it felt like you didn't lose on hand size there. That can be kind of rough. And sometimes they're just going to have Diablo hate. If you play against Blurple and they ramp on 2 and play a Genie, they're going to have an instant answer for Diablo. Yeah, you get some card draw out of it, but, they're going to remove your thing that you kind of needed to stick around for a long time to start seeing results from it. So yeah, you've got the classic Diablo package in there. I think then this is another reason why I play the Cove a bit more. Putting the Cove down on 2, you're going to stop things like a lot of like Let the Storms. Diablo Genie is not enough now. You need Elsa as well, which to be honest with you, they sometimes have. You can trade up with opponents' Diablos, and it just feels great when you get that high roll. So I'm a big fan of the Cove, but I think a lot of the Emerald Steel players who are veteran on the deck would say otherwise. But that's just my take on it. I think as well with Morph, when I saw Ray play this the first time, he was only running 3 Morphs. I put it back up to 4. But he said he run 3 Morphs because basically it's a card you only really want to see on turn 2, and you only want to see it on turn 2 in certain matchups. So you don't need to 4x it, because later on in the game, some of the worst turns is when you just draw into a Morph, because he's sort of rough to draw into later on in the game. The same as the 1-drop Diablos, but they are very valid that you need them at 4 because of the combo when you can shift early on. So yeah, you could definitely drop that down to 3, and again, buff up Muses, buff up other aspects of the deck. You can include more songs like I'm Still Here. I know Ray was running that card as well, to give resist to Diablo and give him another turn of surviving, which means just more card draw. And if you give him another turn, you could set up a thing like Pete, or you could start singing of Ursula and start protecting him. So yeah, definitely you could go down to 3 morphs, but I just keep it as 4. I try and keep decks that I play 4 copies of everything that I want as much as I can. I don't really like doing one-offs and stuff like that, and I know it's only down to 3 of the morph, but when I can 4x a card that's kind of very good in the deck, I do. And it would bring into the fact that shifting Beast on 3 into like Ruby Sapphire is just huge. You're going to win lots of games by doing that. I think that's a really great play. The main card that you could try in here as well, as I'm saying things like you can cut down on the hidden coves, cut down on the morphs. I was running a list for a while where we cut down on the morphs down to 3 and the hidden coves down to 2, and we put 2 Namaris in. The new Namari that is a on play, draw 1, discard 1, and at the start of your turn you get to draw 1, discard 1. That card can be very, very big. And it's very, very powerful. Ruby Sapphire is going to probably have to B prep that, otherwise every turn you're going to be cycling for your deck until you find exactly what you need. As well, with Greensteel in general, you're going to get to points where like you're just drawing into things like sudden chills, but you have no Prince John, or the card doesn't do anything. They've got like 6 cards in hand and you don't care about taking 1 card out of their hand. Or you could draw, as I say, into one of these morphs or Diablos, or maybe a hidden cove when it's really not the time to be playing it. Namari gives you the ability to draw 1, discard 1, and just cycle through till you get the perfect hand where you can sing Ursula can sing removal. And sometimes as well, there's only 8 songs in here that Ursula can sing, and when she does, they're very, very powerful. But when she doesn't, when she doesn't get a chance to do that, she's just a really bad card, and there's no other way to describe that. So Namari giving you the more options to draw, and is also just finishing out that curve. The turn 1, turn 2, then setting up the Ursula Prince John. Then you can use things like Chip if you want to with the Prince John, or you can use Muses to set up with the Ursula and bounce things. And then when you finish that, you're just playing 5 drops like Beast and Namari as well. As I mentioned, you could put Namari in here for sure. She'd be a very strong choice in the list. Of course, the Prince John package in it. Again, more people are going down to 3 copies. I think because the list is fairly high on uninkables, and you kind of just don't want to brick with it too much. There's only 14 uninkables. I've always felt like it was very high. But yeah, the worst games you'll have is still when you've got like 2 Prince Johns in hand or a Diablo, and it's like I can only just ink and play one of these a turn, and maybe my turn 5 I'm still just playing another 3-drop, because the deck is very dense on really powerful turn 3s. Of course, things like Shift Diablo can change that, and if you get things sequenced a bit differently, that's better. But there's a lot of 3-drops in there, and to be honest with you, when I say things like Blurple and the Amethyst matchups, they tend to be able to outdraw your discard anyway. No one's bouncing a rabbit with a snake anymore. They're playing Finders Keepers and seeing friends, and like Blurple's got Tamatoa and whatever, and it's just huge amounts of card draw. So Prince John discarding has kind of felt a bit weaker these days. So dropping 1 down, it still feels like you get enough of him if you keep 3 copies in there. But, discarding is not the major route. Sometimes you do it just so you can get to the next card draw and do a bit of disruption. Maybe they've only got 2 cards in hand and you discard one and then you manage to get a chip and discard another one. So that can be very useful as well. But I think there's no shame in dropping down to like 3 Prince Johns if you're trying to do it for your build and using that space for, as I mentioned, Namari, or just buffing up the rest of the list here. Of course, Ursula is just an insanely busted card. I don't know if she survives and we get to see her in set 9. I have no idea. But I love the card, and I think it was always really overshadowed that the only thing she really ended up singing was like the Storm and Strength, because they were just two such insane cards. But I remember at the start where we had like green purple singing Friends and drawing like 4 cards, and then you'd bounce it with a fox and trade something. I remember people got really creative with it, and it would just been awesome to see a bit more creativity. But it ended up being like, I guess Sudden Chill, she can double sing that as well. It's pretty good. But it ended up just being, what's your purpose? Your purpose is you sing like the Storm and Strength for the Raging Fire. So it'd have been nice for her to do more things. So I'm just getting some enjoyment out of that card before whatever happens in set 9. And I don't know if I get to play it again, which is the sad thing. Less so about Diablo. I've never found that card that much of a joy. But Ursula, just double singing things is so much fun. No one knows what's going to happen in set 9. So yeah, Ursula's generally one of my joyful cards. I remember I brought her to Lille as well. She was in my green steel aggro deck in Lille. And next one you go on to Pete. I mean, Pete is just a 4x. He also feels way more at home in this deck because your deck is so based around disruption and just being a pain to your opponent with all of your discarding and stopping them from doing actions and shifting and stuff like that. So yeah, he has to be in there. And the Space Pirate Pete, I think, me when I play green steel, I tend to ink it quite a bit. I think because in my head I don't think I'm going to be doing the line of shifting to Space Pirate Pete, but as before, he is kind of just this amazing way that if on 3 you can play him and then shift Space Pirate Pete, and then quest, you can kind of just lock Amber Steel out from even top decking and singing a song from like one of their characters. I mean, to be honest with you, the entire design of green steel kind of beats Amber Steel Wheel in general, but Space Pirate Pete always felt like it was for that matchup. I think I underwhelm and don't look how powerful he is just in general as a 5/5 that has resist 1 and quest for 2. He's a gigantic body on the board. He trades up with everything. He can sing Bruno. He is very important to put down as well. So those two paired in there together is really cool. And just the line of playing, it's not even a line, it's just like 2 turns of playing Pete on 3 and then shifting him and then maybe singing Bruno, or just having this huge body and stopping them from singing is just really awesome. The next one we got there is Chip. I really like Chip, and I was kind of like hoping until the people I really look up to of Green Steel, like Dale and Ray are the main 2 that I follow for Green Steel, like to run Chip to see if it was valid to run it. And yeah, top decking Chip feels a lot better, I think, than top decking Hypnotize, I find, because Hypnotize, you just play it and you just draw another card, but you get another body on the board with this. And if you do something like Prince John into Chip, then sing Beyond the Horizon, you've just done this very awkward turn for your opponent where they're not sure how alive their hand's going to be the next few turns, and you're just getting constant disrupt. So Chip feels very good in the list. I've been running it. I don't think you 4x it. He's not key. He's not vital. There is a lot of cards in... I don't know how many cards there are in Lorcana that say discard a card, but Chip's been pretty good in this one. And the 3/2 is pretty good. Like, sometimes you might get scared that they're going to Elsa and hit it because it's like feels like the perfect trade, but come on, like, who's running the Elsa into Chip when you've got so many other targets for it? So he ends up just being a 3 damage that you can throw at something at some point, or he sings some removal for you. So really good. Move him to Cove as well, and he's just a monster. So I love the card Chip. And the next one is the Muses. I think if you're in a room that was just really heavy on Amber Steel aggro, I'd use more of the Muses. I think even with like Genie Blurple and Green Purple decks, Muses is great. I think I'm also realizing how much more I think the Muses should be in this list, and maybe I should include 3 copies. But the card is pretty big, especially if you pair it with, you're getting the Ursula down on 3 and then you're playing the Muses the next turn, you're getting that bounce back as well. So if you're against Amber Steel aggro, removing 2 targets with double strength, or let the Storm and take some things out and then double bouncing things back, you know, it's just huge. It just sets up for amazing spots. And again, you've got more ward in the deck. So if you play Prince John into the Muses, sing Beyond the Horizon, bounce back a Genie or bounce back or whatever, and discard their hand as well at the same time, and get all this card draw, is just so amazing. Like, it's such a good thing to have just 2 really big ward characters on the board. Against like Ruby Amethyst, I've had games where I've gone Prince John into Muses, knowing full well that I have a Beyond the Horizon in the hand, and there is nothing they can really do about me doing this, and nothing they can do about me discarding their entire hand and getting some card draw. Maybe they'll try a hand dump, but maybe their hand's too expensive to do that. So yeah, she's really good. I think as well, like those numbers of 3 Chip and 2 Muses can be swapped around. Like I very personally like Chip. I like that it's just a character you can put on the board as well as discard. But yeah, you can swap those 2 around. Like I say, a lot of people been going a bit less on the discard heavy stuff. Not less and like less, just you're not seeing 4x Hypnotize and 4x Prince Johns. I'm seeing a lot more 3 Prince Johns and maybe 2 Chips in people's lists. But I kind of like running Chip a bit more, and it's just sometimes people don't expect it as well. It's just good. That's mainly my professional opinion on that Chip, just good because I like it. But you could easily swap that around the numbers of the Muses. Beast has to be in there. Beast very much validates the Morph even more so. I mean, Morph still has the shift targets of Pete and Diablo, but you have some amazing games versus, say, like Ruby Sapphire, where if you were like Diablo turn 1, Morph on turn 2, shift Diablo, shift Beast, and just out-resource them like mad, is so awesome. And you could do that against a few other decks. I find versus Blurple, if you shift the Beast like on the play, for sure, like you just get so many turns of drawing cards when it gets to when you have to start rumbling and battling each other. You've got a 3/5 that's giving you a card every turn, and you've drawn an extra card every turn, and you'll be able to throw more removal at them. You'll just be able to do some really awesome things. So I think Beast is just awesome in this list. Definitely, like it's strange, like Beast just as a card reads pretty good in my opinion. It's always read pretty good. But in green still, I think because you disrupt and take removal out of their hand and make things awkward for them, he just survives for longer, and you actually get to use the benefit of drawing an extra card every turn. So yeah, he really validates that morph. But on top of that as well, if you're playing on curve and say you've done like Diablo 1, Ursula on 2, Ursula 3 cost Ursula on 3, you've played a Chipper or Muses or whatever, and then you've played a Tragic Beast, like you've topped off well, like you've done a very strong curve there. And hopefully you got to do some interactions in between that, so that's awesome. And yeah, I mentioned my points on Space Pirate Pete. It feels like an Amber Steel, but also it's just good for green steel to have like a big like body to put on board, like a mob boss, like a final boss, not a mob boss, to put on the board just to start rumbling and battling. Because before they've used Tinkerbell, the 6 cost Tinkerbell, but Space Pirate Pete just fills in the identity of green steel a lot better, and it does a lot more things for the list. So yeah, he's just good in there as just a final boss character. The song package is all there. I play 4 Bruno. I've seen a lot of people go down to 3, but to be honest with you, whenever I play 3, I'm always hunting for 1 Bruno to find. I never find it, so 4x definitely. Having a good amount of actions and songs is good for your Diablo, because you need certain things you need to shift and give it and like throw it away. And some matchups Bruno won't be that important. Some matchups Beyond the Horizon won't be that important. Sudden Chill, all those things like won't be that important sometimes. Whereas Let the Storm and Strength always tend to feel quite important cards. So I gave maybe into Ruby Sapphire. You might want to get rid of a Let the Storm, so you've got that Bruno for later on in the game on their Shark. So yeah, the whole song package feels absolutely justified. 2 Beyond the Horizon has felt like the number that everyone said it is, said it should be, and I think that's probably correct. I'd love to play a deck that was 4 Beyond the Horizon, but I feel I would struggle with quite a lot of Uninkables if I was doing full mulligans for Diablo and I ended up with multiple Beyond the Horizons. I could be stumped on that point. So yeah, 2 has felt fine. Like when you find it, it can be like I've had a lot of games where you're in top deck mode and it's like I've got 2 singers on the board there. I've got my Prince John and Muses because they got ward, no one can touch them. I just need to top deck that Beyond the Horizon. Top deck sing it, discard your opponent's hand as well. You've got 6 cards in hand. You play some stuff, and the tempo is hugely swung in your favor, and you do some bouncing with the Muses as well. So Beyond the Horizon is a 2x. It's nice to have that in there sometimes, and sometimes you just pitch it for Diablo, especially into the aggro matchups. You just throw it away and shift to Diablo if you're lucky. And like the Coves in there, like the more I've talked about it, I think you can play around with the variables of the Coves. You don't need 3. Like, please try Namari out. Try maybe changing the numbers on Muses and Prince John. Like I say, this is a list I generally play because I enjoy quite a lot. I don't know if I'd bring it to like Axion or a regional event or something like that, but I just generally enjoy the gameplay of Green Steel, which probably makes me a monster to some people. But yeah, at least a count of Coves in the deck I think is good, because you're just going to face against so many people who will just brawl the Diablo early, or they'll just let the Storm it early, or they'll just play a Genie on board and then you can't exert it until they Elsa kill it. So just some amount of Coves just makes things awkward. Sometimes even if you're worried about Genie and Elsa just double teaming taking out the Diablo, I've had turns where I've established the Diablo for long enough that I'm able to find removal options for the what's it called, the genie. And also as well, like you could try cards out, like if you want to take Prince John or some of the Coves out, you could try cards like Pluto, which is good wherever your Ursula's sung on turn 3 and it's deserted and it's got like there's a 3/3, maybe they've got a bell on their board. If you play a Pluto, you just make an instantly awkward board state where their Elsa could, all it's going to do is lose one of their characters. Like say their bell is still there, they lose that, and then the Elsa hits and takes out the Pluto, but you get another turn, maybe another double Singlet the Storm. So Pluto is another card as well. Gone for the and there's also something I've really enjoyed with Greenstone. It feels like there's so many cards I still want to try out and like put in there and like just have fun with. The big Dual Link Maui is one that's always intrigued me, but I've never actually ended up running it. But definitely for certain, Namari and what's it called? Namari and Pluto are 2 cards that are very worth trying out, especially with all the Diablo hate. Pluto is very good, the 4/5 bodyguard, and Namari is just good because you get to cycle the deck and you get a bit more of a lifespan, and later on in the game you get to cycle through cards and put things on the board. So yeah, they're just all my opinions on my joy for Greed Still. I know it's like a what you call it, like a dirty, like sick pleasure or something. I don't know. I really enjoy Green Steel, but I don't talk about it too much. I definitely don't think I have the strongest opinions on it. I just enjoy the list, and this is where I'd probably take it. Try out those cards like Namari and Pluto, but for store champs for local league, I think it's a very strong pick, and you're probably going to get a lot of people upset if you play it as well.